Hey everyone! Welcome back. Today, we're talking about the UK 20 pence coins. Some of these are worth a crazy $2,500. We'll uncover what makes them so special, from rare mistakes to unique designs. Whether you're a collector or just curious, stick around to see why these coins are worth so much. Let's get started. Let's start with the 1982 UK 20 pence coin, which can be worth a crazy $2,500. That's right, just one coin, and it could be worth thousands. So, why is it so valuable? The story starts with its design and a few rare mistakes made when it was minted. The 1982 20 pence coin was part of the UK's new decimal currency system. It was meant to replace the old coins, and this was a big change for the country. One of the things that made this coin stand out was its shape. Most coins are round, but this one has a seven-sided shape, which makes it instantly recognizable. It's not your usual coin shape, and that alone gives it some uniqueness. But here's the thing, what really drives the value of this coin up to $2,500 is the production error. Back in 1982, a very small batch of 20 pence coins was made that didn't follow the usual minting process. Usually, the minting process is pretty strict and consistent, but in 1982, there were some small mistakes. These errors could include things like misprints or slight imperfections that make the coins different from the standard ones. While most of the coins came out fine, this small batch was made with some slight issues, and that made them stand out to collectors. If you're wondering what kind of mistakes we're talking about, it could be things like a misaligned design or a slightly wrong font. Sometimes the metal could have been pressed unevenly, or the coin might have had tiny scratches or flaws. These might sound small, but in the world of coin collecting, every little detail matters. Collectors love finding coins that are unique, especially if they are part of a limited run or have something unusual about them. Finding a coin like this in perfect condition, with no wear or tear, is extremely rare. And that's where the value comes in. The fewer coins there are, the more valuable they become. Think of it like a limited edition item. If only a small number of them were made, and most of them were damaged or destroyed, the ones that remain become incredibly valuable. This coin's rarity is a huge factor in why it can be sold for such a high price. In fact, if you're lucky enough to find one in perfect condition, you could end up with a coin worth up to $2,500. But finding one in perfect condition is hard. Coins get worn down over time, and the more they're handled, the less valuable they become. That's why it's so important for collectors to find these coins in the best possible shape. So, to sum it up, the 1982 UK 20 pence coin is valuable because of its unique seven-sided shape, the small batch that was produced with errors, and its rarity. If you ever come across one, be sure to check it closely. If it's in good condition, you could be holding a treasure worth a lot of money. Now, let's talk about the 1989 UK 20 pence coin, which is valued at around $1,200. That's a lot for a simple coin, right? But there's a good reason why this coin is worth so much. In 1989, the design of the 20 pence coin was a little different compared to the other years. It featured a more detailed image of the English rose, which is one of the symbols of the UK. This rose is not just any design, it's a symbol of England and has been used in many coins throughout history. In 1989, the mint decided to make the rose more defined and visible on the coin. This design change made it stand out from the other years. On top of the unique design, the mint produced only a limited number of these coins in 1989. When only a few coins are made, they become much harder to find. That's one of the key reasons why the 1989 20 pence coin is so valuable. Since fewer of these coins were made compared to the other years, collectors are willing to pay a premium for one if they can find it. Now, while the 1989 coin may not have the same types of minting errors that we saw with the 1982 version, it still has its own special qualities that make it stand out. The English rose design, being more detailed than in other years, adds to its appeal. And remember, in coin collecting, even small changes in design can make a big difference in value. Collectors love finding coins with unique or rare designs, and the 1989 20 pence is exactly that. The value of this coin also goes up because of how hard it is to find. Not every coin from 1989 is going to be in perfect condition, so a coin in great shape is even more rare. If you happen to come across one in excellent condition, that could mean more money in your pocket. A coin with a beautiful design and limited production is always going to be in high demand among collectors. So, for collectors, the 1989 UK 20p coin is a dream find. The fact that it has a unique design featuring a more detailed English rose and was made in small numbers makes it incredibly desirable. When you add up the limited supply and the demand from collectors, you can see why this coin is valued so highly. In the world of coin collecting, it's not always just about how many mistakes a coin has or how old it is. Sometimes, it's about how rare the coin is and how different it looks compared to other coins. And with the 1989 UK 20p coin, the unique design and limited production are the reasons why it can be worth $1,200. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding a piece of UK history that's worth much more than just its face value. Next up is the 1983 UK 20p coin, which can be worth around $1,000. This one is another rare find, and it has a very interesting story behind it. What makes it special? Well, it all comes down to a mistake made during the minting process. The 1983 20p coin was supposed to have a smooth edge, just like most other coins. But, due to a mistake at the mint, a small number of coins from that year were actually made with a reeded edge. Now, you might be wondering, what does that even mean? Well, let me explain. Most coins have one of two types of edges, a smooth edge or a reeded edge. A smooth edge is just flat, with no ridges. On the other hand, a reeded edge has little grooves or ridges, like the edge of a coin you'd see on a quarter or a dime in some countries. It's not a huge difference, but it's noticeable when you look closely at the coin. In the case of the 1983 UK 20p coin, the mint made most of them with a smooth edge, as they were supposed to. However, a very small number of these coins were made with the reeded edge instead, and that's where the value comes in. The reeded edge was a mistake, but for collectors, it turned out to be a lucky find. Coins with these kinds of mistakes are much rarer than those that were made correctly, which is why they can be worth so much more money. If you ever come across a 1983 20p coin, it's important to check the edge carefully. If it has a reeded edge, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth up to $1,000. And even though there were only a few of these reeded edge coins made, they are still hard to find, especially in good condition. If the coin you find is well preserved, that adds even more value to it. In the world of coin collecting, small mistakes like this can make a huge difference. What might seem like a small flaw, like the edge of the coin being the wrong way, can actually make the coin worth a lot of money. It's all about rarity and the story behind the coin. The fact that there's such a small number of coins with this error makes it a highly desirable item for collectors. So, next time you're checking your pocket change or sorting through some coins, make sure to take a closer look at the edge of the 1983 20p coin. If it's smooth, it's not as rare. But if it has a reeded edge, you might just have a valuable coin on your hands. Let's move on to the 1990 UK 20p coin, which can go for around $1,800. This one is really interesting because it has a unique story behind it, mainly because of the small flaws that were made during its production. In 1990, the UK Mint produced the 20p coin, but there were some slight errors made in the way the coin was struck. Normally, when a coin is made, the design is pressed onto the coin's surface with great care. But in 1990, several coins ended up with flaws in the way the design was applied. These flaws could be small things like the design being a little bit off-center or having uneven edges where the design didn't line up properly. These types of mistakes aren't very common, but they did happen enough that some of the 1990 20p coins turned out looking a little different from the rest. Now, you might think that these errors are pretty small, but in the world of coin collecting, every little detail counts. Collectors really look for coins that have something unique about them, especially if they were made with errors. The 1990 20p coin is one of those coins. Even though the mistakes were minor, they're what makes certain versions of this coin so special. The reason these flaws add value is because they make the coin rarer. The more rare a coin is, the more valuable it becomes to collectors. Since these 1990 coins with errors aren't easy to find, they are in high demand. For collectors who want to complete their sets or add something special to their collections, finding one of these mistake coins is like finding a treasure. The fact that the error was made in such a limited number of coins makes it all the more desirable. To make things even more interesting, the condition of the coin plays a big role in how much it's worth. If you find a 1990 coin with a flaw, but it's also in great condition, that can really boost its value. A coin that looks new and doesn't have too many signs of wear is worth more than one that's been used a lot and has scratches or marks. So, collectors pay close attention to the quality of the coin, not just the error. Let's break it down. If you find a 1990 UK 20 pence coin that has one of these design flaws and it's in excellent condition, it could easily be worth up to $1,800. The more rare the coin is, and the better condition it's in, the higher the price it can fetch. Even though the design flaw is small, it's enough to make the coin stand out and become highly collectible. Collectors look for these types of coins because they're not something you'll find every day. Coins like this don't come around very often, so when they do, they can really go for a good price. The fact that only a limited number of the 1990 coins had these errors makes them even more sought after. So, if you happen to come across a 1990 UK 20 pence coin, be sure to check for any flaws in the design. Finally, let's talk about the 1987 UK 20 pence coin, which is valued at around $2,200. This coin is not just rare, it's one of the rarest and most valuable 20 pence coins out there, and it has a really interesting backstory. In 1987, the UK Mint created a special set of 20 pence coins, but there was a big problem. These coins were made with errors in their size and weight. Normally, coins are made to very specific measurements, but something went wrong in the production process for this set of 1,987 coins. Some of the coins turned out to be too big or too small, and the weight of the coins was also off. These issues were not small mistakes, they were noticeable enough that the coins were pulled from circulation almost immediately after they were made. The Mint realized the mistake and decided to stop the distribution of these coins to avoid confusion. Because of this, only a small number of these error coins actually made it into people's hands. The fact that there are so few of these 1987 error coins is what makes them so valuable today. Since they were pulled from circulation so quickly, the supply of these coins is extremely limited. When only a small number of coins are available, and those coins are in high demand, the price naturally goes up. This is exactly what happened with the 1987 20 pence. The rarity of the coin, combined with the minting error, makes it highly sought after by collectors. The mistakes in size and weight were so obvious that collectors immediately knew these coins were special. And because only a small number of them were released, they've become incredibly rare. As time has passed, the number of these coins has only decreased as they've been collected, lost, or damaged. This makes the remaining 1987 20 pence coins even more valuable. Another key factor in why this coin is so expensive is the condition. Just like with the other rare coins we've talked about, the better the condition of the coin, the more it's worth. Coins that have been in good condition since they were made are even harder to find. The 1987 20 pence coin is no different. Because it was pulled from circulation quickly and only a few remained, finding one that's still in great shape can really increase its value. A coin that's in mint condition could easily fetch around $2,200, but one that's been worn out or damaged will be worth much less. If you ever come across a 1987 20 pence coin, make sure to check it carefully. Look at the size and weight. Does it feel off compared to other coins? You'll want to check for any signs of wear too, because mint condition coins are the ones that are worth the most. The 1987 error coins are one of the most valuable coins in the UK, and if you're lucky enough to find one, you could have a small fortune on your hands. So, the 1987 UK 20 pence coin stands out because of its production mistakes and the fact that only a small number of these coins made it into circulation. The rarity and the condition of the coin are what make it so valuable, and if you find one in good shape, it could be worth as much as $2,200. The key is to know what makes these coins different and rare, and to be able to spot them if you ever come across one. Understanding coin errors and value. So, what's the takeaway here? Why are these coins worth so much? Well, when it comes to rare coins, it's all about mistakes, scarcity, and demand. Coins that have production errors, like the ones we've discussed, are often the most sought after. Whether it's a misprint, a flaw in the design, or an issue with the size or shape, these mistakes make the coins more unique and harder to find. The rarer a coin is, the more valuable it becomes in the eyes of collectors. You're ever out hunting for coins, make sure to check them closely. A small error could mean big money in your pocket. But how can you spot these rare coins? Here are a few tips. First, always check the year. The coins we discussed today are from the 1980s and 1990s. Next, look for any unusual designs or flaws. Even the smallest scratch or misprint could add value to a coin. Finally, remember that condition matters. A coin in mint condition will always be worth more than one that's worn out. So there you have it, the 1982, 1989, 1983, 1990, and 1987 UK 20 pence coins, all with their own unique history and valuable errors. Whether you're a collector or just someone who loves learning about rare coins, these are definitely worth keeping an eye out for. And who knows? You could stumble upon a treasure worth thousands of dollars. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of our future coin hunting adventures. Until next time, happy collecting, and stay curious.